Let's go.
Yeah. Well, maybe first to give an introduction what you're doing. It's been we started building, especially we started building in public around March 1st, and today we want to give an overview where we got what are the main topics that we are covering, and maybe to touch upon what we plan to do in April. Marco, do you want to add something?
Yeah, so basically just a retrospective on March, and not sure we're ready to talk about April even, but yeah, we know roughly where we're going.
It's always good to share some aspirations, at least.
Yeah.
Where to start? I would start with maybe the what was the first thing that we did launch the website, the master plan. Maybe we can share on that. What is our master plan? What we want to achieve?
Yeah, I think when you did a video a month ago, like what are our plans for March, and I think you had like a diagram of various how different things are connected to each other. Like maybe we can quickly show that first.
If you have it at hand, of course.
Okay, let me try. Let's see. Let me share the screen. Window. Yeah, so it's kind of, I almost forgot, but basically at the beginning of March, we literally had nothing, right? So we did not start even, writing any code. We didn't have a website. We did not exist at all. Yeah, kind of looking back, we sort of come a long way since then. So the original plan was to, one of the first things we did was, you were researching open source licenses. Then we started a GitHub repo. Obviously, we started building some foundational things and also prototyping some things. We can go into that a bit later. Yeah, we're literally like setting up, a Google like email workspace, social media accounts, Discord, like that's pretty significant. And the goal was to build in public, and so to really share as much, anything that could be useful to other kind of builders and founders out there on the journey. And so, yeah, we can maybe share another screen where the website is. Tab. Right, so fairly, yeah, sure. Of course, a pretty minimal website. And this was the beginning. We didn't have this trailer. This came later. So the website was initially just like the master plan and, a couple of social media links and to join Discord. Kind of the first kind of thing we published was this master plan. So to kind of explain our mission, to empower our startup to execute at the highest level. That's kind of how we sum it up.
Which was huge thing, if I can add. Like we had this idea for months, and finally we were able to, push it out to the public and slowly start connecting with people who understand our mission, who understand the problems that we are trying to solve. It was a huge thing.
Yeah, and this is we actually have some like so our background is like we spent let's say a decade like building Semaphore, which is a product for developers, and so all of our efforts, like whatever we were publishing online, was kind of aligned with that. So talking to developers, but now we are kind of more like generally talking to Operatorly is in the realm of general like B2B and business development. So it's a new field for us, like not new field as in like we have no experience, of course, but like in terms of connecting with people. So yeah, like starting from scratch almost, which is refreshing. Of course, it's a challenge, but yeah, we like that. And what was really cool is, yeah, in the short period, like, yeah, we just, I think once we have established like this very basic online presence, like this is what we want to do, why, how we're going to do it, it's building in the open. And now, what we started doing, and we'll keep on doing it, is just connecting with people who can relate to this or who have this problem, and hopefully we can yeah, just be of help. Like this is like personally, like this is kind of my mission right now, sort of, to just make my, like, I'm going to discovering different communities online and kind of figuring out where, let's say, first-time founders or that type of people hang out, and just making myself available. And yeah, we already had like interesting, like a few like interactions where I was like, for example, posting something on Reddit groups that are related to like SaaS and startups, so on. And then somebody would just kind of look me up and then, discover Operatorly and like join our Discord. And, we would just talk for a while, end up having a call. And it was really, yeah, that's really cool. Like we are now in a position where like we can actually engage with every single person who is interested. And that's really cool. Like, I think this is one of those things, like, not scalable, but I think essential, and I truly enjoy it.
It definitely energized me to push even harder and go beyond. When I saw that we basically have one mission statement, one paper, and people are already resonating with it, coming to talk with us, it feels that we are on the right path and that we are solving a real problem in the world, which we know previously, but this was a very good proof that yes, this absolutely makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm just like briefly sharing like this our actual Discord. So ignore the private room for the team, but like this is we have this like, okay, the main kind of general group, and there's people writing messages, which is like I swear we did not pay them to write this. But yeah, really cool to see people resonate. with this. And yeah, I think joining Discord is a pretty kind of low-key way of, if you're interested to keep up, because we have automated channels where, like, if we publish a blog post, you'll see a message here with just that link, or we aggregate all the YouTube videos and these like backstage posts. So it's a way of like staying in the loop without adding more to like your email inbox, or like missing it on your Twitter feed or something. So yeah, I personally like it.
What was our so far best community that we found? Was it Reddit and Twitter that where people really resonated with our message?
Well, these like direct interactions where people would come to our Discord, make an effort to do that and so on, and introduce themselves. Like, these people came from Reddit. Yeah, there's like r/SaaS and r/startups. I think those are the most impactful. And yeah, like personally, I have a bit of PTSD from from the past kind of exposure to Reddit, which is mostly like developer related topics, where there's like a lot of kind of, I don't know, like there's a lot of kind of people that are kind of edgy, and I don't know, maybe more often than not assume bad intention or whatever. And I haven't really found that that's the case here in these like startup related communities. It's more like people genuinely asking for help or sharing advice. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Like one community I have just like become aware of, but haven't really had a chance yet to dive in, was like the Product Hunt. They call it discussions. I think it's basically a forum. It also looks like it's there's a ton of interesting like kind of builders and founders there. So yeah, I wanna spend some time, if not this week, then next, kind of seeing what's up, what's going on. And of course, like Twitter is like full of like Twitter makes the world, Twitter like flattens the world completely, and you can connect with anybody, engage with anybody. It's unparalleled in my opinion. So yeah, just being present there, of course, it's I think both of us like now spend
quite a lot of time on Twitter.
Yeah. So and it's, yeah, with Musk, pushing product forward like at much higher velocity than what was previously done. It's just it's interesting times for Twitter. In a lot of ways, it's yeah, there's this like thing where they added impressions, for example, as a visible indicator. And at first I was like, this is a totally vanity thing, like, but later I realized it's as clear as it gets. I think a signal that like Twitter is just we are generally, I think, in this attention economy, like there's a million things that are competing for everybody's time, and attention is the most scarce resource. And Twitter is basically about getting as many impressions as you can, like, and hopefully in a constructive way that adds value to people, not the opposite. So I think that's why, and there's these wild comments that occasionally Musk puts in, like Twitter is going to be the biggest financial institution in the world, and But I can kind of see like, okay, maybe, you know, if your tweets create enough impressions, maybe you will be dropped a little bit of Dogecoin or something. Like impressions are surely going to be an important metric, and you can already like see maybe subjectively, like if you see something and it has like a high or very low number, it kind of, unfortunately, you cannot, it's really unfair to judge people based on the number of tweet impressions, but it's like it gives you some idea what's, I don't know, relevant or, yeah.
Well, it's very transparent what's going on.
Yeah.
You sometimes see some posts that got millions of impressions, and but you see very low like count or comment count. You can pretty easily sniff out if it's doing some funny business with paying ads or something. But when you see the combination of a well-liked post, very much impressions, it gives you a very good signal that yes, what you are reading is probably high value. Of course, not everything, but a lot of things are high value. And I definitely agree with you on the advancements in Twitter. For years, it was let's say pretty static. For me, at least, Twitter was the same from 2018 to 2023. But it definitely feels like it's improving, and there is so much untapped potential in Twitter. There is so much more things that you can do to connect people to for example, these, I don't know how they're called, circles or discussions. That's a very, very interesting thing. I don't know if that was Musk, but I listened to several of them, and yeah, that was like, of course, we need something like this in the world.
You mean Spaces or?
Spaces, yes.
Yeah, they launched Spaces, I think, before Musk. It was kind of the response to Clubhouse. That was like a very hot kind of invention, let's say, or discovery during COVID. How interesting it is just to like tune in kind of a radio like fashion and just talk to people. But yeah, it's a prime example. Like in public, you can see how different execution leads to different results, which is like, in the past, like Twitter leadership would just send these signals like, oh, changing everything is so difficult and we have to be very careful. And it's like they gave this impression, like, for example, to me, is like, if they change like 1 pixel on the website, that it's going to break the world because the democracy will be overthrown and whatever, like the climate will go to hell because of that. Like, no, not really.
And when you operate with that mindset, every decision needs to be, on that level that if you break it, 50% of people will die on the world. Like that's the approach that they had previously almost.
Yeah.
You put yourself up to failure. Like with that kind of thinking, you just cannot progress as efficiently as you can.
Yeah. Very few decisions in business are irreversible, and that's what you have like people like Bezos say these things, so it's probably true.
More often, I saw that you make a series of subpar decisions over years, and you never really dig deep. Why are you doing this? And you never really push the envelope further and further. That's that is more of a recipe for failure than just, shipping out one maybe wrong thing, learn from it, come back to the drawing board, do it again, do it better. That kind of failure or that kind of a risk is nothing in comparison to doing nothing for 3 years or doing subpar decisions for 3 years.
Yeah, this is why if you're not used to this kind of thinking, it's counterintuitive, but like the biggest risk is not taking risk. And but then of course, when you do something, like make sure you learn from it, regardless if it's like success or failure, there's something to learn and apply the next time. So
I think that both of us learned this in very early, as we are both engineers, and that, I mean, CI/CD is the same approach, just in the tech world. When you want to make small iterative changes all the time, test them, do it as frequently as possible, and learn from real data. The same logic is totally applicable for doing business. You cannot move forward by sitting on something for 6 months, being absolutely non-transparent, building in your own world, and then expecting that in 6 months you ship something or you do something one day and it will magically change the world.
Yeah, for sure. That's that kind of closed mindset is more like yeah, it sounds like you're operating like a government. It's not really something in the business world or even startup world that leads to good results at all.
It's good that you mentioned government. I mean, whatever I said is definitely in a context. When you're doing business applications, you are making important decisions, but let's face it, we are not, putting people's lives in danger, and we cannot operate in the same sense as, someone will die if I do a wrong decision tomorrow. And if you apply that level of thinking, like, I cannot do anything, I cannot move because disaster is right around the corner, that is applicable for, fighting, what's the name of the disease that comes with mosquitoes? Like that's
malaria
the thing.
or
Malaria.
Yeah, like true crisis. Like if you're building like some B2B SaaS or a mobile app or a game or whatever, like, yeah, let's get real. It's not
I'm not saying that it's not important, but applying disaster thinking to things that needs to move fast and things that needs to evolve frequently and efficiently and to hit actual demands of your users, that's the wrong frame to use.
Yeah. I was maybe to go back to our plans a little bit. There was, as much as we are amazing, there was something which we did not accomplish as we planned. So there was this idea that we had an idea. Of course, we knew it was kind of a stretch. That so the idea was like, could we make some kind of a very rough alpha MVP available to Semaphore, basically, because there's the turn of the quarter and we do quarterly planning, and that's a good, yeah, we use OKRs to set goals at Semaphore. So that was like there was an idea to maybe we could use Operately in the process. Yeah, in practice it was not feasible really. We are still Yeah, we're working with a design agency on the application design, and it's March was actually when we really started. At you know, we have now good velocity, so it's not yeah, we're making good progress, but it was just not feasible to have an alpha MVP in beginning of April.
I think that the major turning point from that bet happened around March 15th, March 20th, where, you know, we were on a good path, and I think that if we would just continue on that path, we would probably reach that state of having an MVP. But it was good to recognize at that moment that we have a central thing that we didn't think through. That was that company page. Like yes, we had that plan to finish it in April 1st, but there is this very important thing that seems to be, you know, the central point where organizations will live inoperatively, where they can lay out their strategy, where they can lay out their execution. And it was basically a trade-off. We can think that through and, you know, have a very good experience there, or just push forward and not think about that. And yeah, that's when we basically pivoted to, okay, we need to think this through, make it right, and then come back to having this page fully thought through, high quality. I'm spinning in circles, but yeah, this I think will be a very important page.
Yeah, and you showed actually in this is from a recent video posted on Operatively Backstage channel, which shows like a early prototype of this. So the idea is for yeah, this screen would be like the overview of, yeah, basically everything that what the company is doing right now. But when you are building up that information, it acts as a, let's say, thinking tool in the process. So when you do goal setting and business planning, like, we hope that this screen will be helpful. And so yeah, there's some little twists and that we were adding here and discovering along the way. So yeah, just excited to yeah, we'll share as soon as we have something a little bit more final.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this page in actual, you know, fully designed form, because so far it's in our head how amazing this can be. Of course, neither of us can design to that level, but I think we hit the idea correctly, and yeah, now we are waiting to. On this, maybe I would touch upon that topic that so far we have always mentioned objectives and key results. That was the framework that we were using at Semaphore. But while connecting with people, we realized that there is a preconceived notions what OKRs are and what OKRs are not. And we definitely spoke with multiple people who expressed that, you know, OKRs are not good. And when they shared how they implemented it, yes, the way that we heard that they are implemented at a specific company, yes, that can be very problematic. For example, treating key results as you know, just a to-do list, or treating objectives as, you know, something very aspirational, never achieving and because the core description of OKRs allow that. But if we go back to the books and the very start of all the knowledge from from Intel, if I'm correct, the basic idea is what we want to achieve and how we are going to measure it. Like those two things are the core. And maybe this recent development of we are basically changing the name objectives and key result. For that reason, we want to detach ourselves from that colloquial knowledge of what OKRs are. And the current terms that we are using are goals and targets. Goals, I think they are a good description what objectives are, maybe a bit easier on the language side. No one really uses in everyday life an objective. I think your analogy from yesterday that objective is like a very military frame, that is very correct. While on the key result, we definitely struggle a bit more to find that adequate word that expresses, this is how you measure things. You, for example, want to run a marathon, let's say on a personal level, run a marathon, and then you need to have like 4 things. Like, for example, you need to reduce your pace. Like, I'm measuring my pace, I'm measuring how often I run, I'm measuring what smaller races have I completed. And so far our word is target, which we hope that it describes that, yes, this is a measurable thing, like this is a number that you should follow. It should be objective.
Yeah, so I'm sure, it's a big topic. Like we spent the last couple of days, like many hours talking about this. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna do like probably multiple even articles and videos sharing kind of our views about maybe for a start OKRs and different problems, and then the good stuff that people can apply. Definitely want to distance ourselves from OKRs because ultimately, as a word, at least, because there's just not consistent way to describe them and teach them and therefore practice them. And if you search just a little bit, you'll find like literally more than 10 different ways to fundamentally fail at like practicing OKRs. And it's like, if you spend like 1,000 hours, you spend a lot of time thinking about this, and it's like maybe partly your job or, and then you're like, oh, you failed because X, oh, you failed because Y. And it's just not really helpful when there's like so many, I think when there's so many ways to fail. It's maybe let's start over. Because there's always going to be statistically impossible that, more and more people fail in one of those ways. So our goal with Upwardly is like to kind of pull out the best of the last 10 years of people doing OKRs and like design a user interface which really gives people the right direction so that they can do the things that are important to them and succeed at that without getting just lost in there's this like term from like developer world, like bike shedding. It's like when you have a discussion of some complex how to build a bicycle, I think, and then complex topic, and then like you don't really you just waste most of the time talking about the color of, so yeah, we hope that we hope we'll at the end of the day bring something refreshing to the table, so that even people who are like, you know what, we just have a spreadsheet of all the goals in our company and we track them like whatever, weekly or monthly, like they see what Operately will have as an upgrade, substantial upgrade. But also people who are like, maybe they've mastered OKRs, on the other hand, they can also fit in, because this is kind of the best version of doing OKRs, basically.
What else can we cover? This felt like a good conclusion.
Yeah, maybe we can stop here and yeah, just wrap up and come back, record another time when we have an interesting update, which will be pretty soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. So maybe to address the viewers, to express that we are thankful if you're listening. If you are new to this channel, please make sure to like the video, to subscribe to us, follow us on Discord, come see the development at GitHub. If you never heard of Operately, read our master plan, see if it resonates with you, if it solves a real value. And of course, if you have some insights, we are more than happy to listen to it.
Okay.